Hey everybody, welcome back and happy Thursday. I'm so glad to be back for the stream today and just want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for letting me play hooky yesterday. If you guys followed along with any of my story on People of the Internet yesterday, I had to go in for a last minute dentist appointment. It's kind of been a disaster, but I got really sick to my tummy after the dentist appointment yesterday. It was just kind of a disaster. But we're back, we're good, and we have a lot to talk about on the stream today. I've got a little buddy napping next to me. We got a lot to talk about, don't we, Libby? Please don't do that in the middle of the stream. Can you say hi to your adoring public out there? Hello to the world. Do you want to start us off with any words of wisdom? No. All right. Well, you guys, I had absolutely zero expectation that we were going to be talking about the same subject twice in a row, essentially, on the live stream. We reacted to Harrison Butker's full commencement speech. We just cut a few minutes of just basically filler content out on Tuesday on the stream, and we are talking about the same speech again today. So if you feel like it is Groundhog Day on the stream, we are talking about the same subject, but a little bit differently. Because out of kind of nowhere, like actually I am a bit shocked, believe it or not, there has been massive backlash on the internet to Harrison Butker's commencement speech at Benedictine College that happened within this last week. What I appropriately titled on Tuesday as the best commencement speech I've ever seen on a college campus is causing, and I'm not exaggerating, thousands of people across the internet, hundreds of thousands of them, to have an absolute meltdown about the state of misogyny and anti-womanhood bigotry in modern, or should I say postmodern, America. The number of videos I have watched in the last 48 hours of people having an absolute temper tantrum, largely women, about what I reacted to as a quite positive and life-affirming speech, especially for women, is mind-boggling to me. So we're going to unpack everything on the stream today as to why people are so upset, react to some of the reaction videos themselves, as to why women are so personally offended by this speech, and how this speech is spilling into other aspects of culture, because it turns out Harrison Butker is really not what's being attacked here all over the internet, or I should say who's being attacked here all over the internet. The content of what he is standing for is what's at stake. And it's never been more important than right now for all of us to work together to fight for truth, not even just traditional values and conservatism or faith, but objective reality and objective truth. So buckle up. It's going to get spicy. I got a lot of things to say, and you may agree or disagree with me, but as long as you guys put it in the chat, as you know, this is always an open forum conversation, and we want to hear what you guys have to say as well. So all of that to be said, as we are getting ready to start all of our wonderful things that we have to talk about today, or maybe not so wonderful, but important things to talk about today, do me a huge favor and smash that follow or subscribe button wherever you guys are watching. We are growing like crazy across platforms as a totally independent channel, all because of the support and love from you guys as you tune into the stream every day. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for that. No matter who you are or where you're watching from, let us know both of those things in our chat so that we can say hello to you to kick off the stream. And as we are getting started today, I want to give a huge shout out to our amazing headline sponsor of our stream that helps to make everything possible, our friends over at Public Square. You guys know them. You guys love them. They are America's largest and fastest growing marketplace of all small businesses, almost 100,000 of them, that are pro-family, pro-faith, and pro-freedom, and stand for all of the things that we are going to be talking about on the stream today. If you are looking for businesses to support that share your values, look no further than Public Square, and you can go support them at publicsquare.com. We're going to say hi to just a few people before jumping into all of the juicy details Harrison Butker's speech. Starting over on Instagram, Opal Flower is watching in Minnesota. We've got Austin watching in Houston, Texas. JJ is in Monument, Colorado, my home state. David's watching in Guam. Another David is watching in Puerto Rico. We love to see that. And many, many others starting to tune in over on Instagram, on Rumble. We've got John Best and Jim and My Quillwin kicking things off for us in the chat. Over on YouTube, hello, Amy. Peter is watching in Roswell, Georgia. We've got D. Stokey watching in Portland, Oregon. 1950 is watching in Croatia and asks, why is it always women? I'll tell you today on the stream because your girl is fired up. And over on Locals, Alex, Emrock, and Nitty Witty are kicking things off for us in our chat. It's about to get spicy. So we react 2 days ago, not 48 hours ago exactly, to Harrison Butker's commencement speech at Benedictine College. I'm joined by my awesome fiance, Brock, who I adore and love, and I know is loving getting to know you guys a little bit better every time he joins us on the stream. And I am blown away. I am floored by how powerful this commencement address was. He hits the nail on the head on everything, on what's going on with woke priests in the Catholic Church, on why tradition in our faith matters and why faith at large desperately needs to be included in Western civilization. He talks about men specifically needing to fill the void of strong leadership in our society and how it is the obligation of strong men to set the tone for culture. He talks about how our Catholic, supposedly, president is in support of very staunchly anti-Christian and anti-biblical principles like abortion and IVF and surrogacy. And yes, he devotes a few minutes of his speech to addressing women specifically. But as I mentioned, he also addressed men specifically and tells women, congratulations on all of your achievements. You should be so proud of yourself. Many of you are going to go on and have very successful, amazing careers. But don't forget about the importance of marriage and motherhood, because there is a powerful lie being told to you in society right now that the only thing that's going to fulfill you as a woman is your career. I say stuff exactly like that, paraphrasing, almost every single day in all of my content. And I can't tell you how many women often react positively to what I say, because we all are living under this thumb of postmodern feminism, constantly being told the only thing that will ever make us happy is a promotion, is a bigger paycheck, is climbing a corporate ladder, is working as a wage slave to a woke corporate CEO who would rather pay to have us travel out of state to get an abortion, for example, rather than offer a more competitive maternity leave package. There is a powerful grip on the women of the millennial generation and Gen Z alike that your career is the only thing that is going to be important to your identity the moment you graduate from college. When I talk about these things, of course, there is slight backlash and people are a little upset occasionally based on what I'm saying, but maybe it's just because it's woman to woman. Generally speaking, I hear nothing but universal agreement, even in situations and conversations that you wouldn't necessarily think people would be agreeing with me. Both times that I've been on the Whatever podcast, for example, sitting across the table from OnlyFans creators and pornography actresses and like very, very postmodern leftist culture value vibes, every single woman sitting around these tables with me at the Whatever podcast proudly raises her hand and says, I still want to get married. 90+% of them say, I still want to be a mom. And I feel like feminism is lying to me. And I feel like modern culture doesn't share these values. And I feel like I'm being duped by the loudest voices in society about the things that are going to make me happy. But the moment a man, and in particular a Catholic, traditionally conservative man, reminds women true femininity, family, meaningful relationships, service to other people in your life, those things are under attack in society. Women everywhere start having an absolute temper tantrum meltdown. As I was feeling really sick to my tummy yesterday and was not having a good day, which is why we took the day off of the stream, I'm laying on the couch and I'm listening to my fiance Brock scroll through his TikTok For You page. And typically, his being a boy's TikTok For You page feed is like full of just absolute brain rot nonsense. Like, he is the king of brain rot. But interestingly, like 95% of his feed was all videos of women being very, very upset about what Harrison Butker had to say. And I ended up pulling just a few of the videos that came across his feed to show you on the stream today. But I'm not joking that I'm laying on the couch for probably 2 hours, and every other video, if not 3 in a row, and then skip one, and then 3 more in a row, were all about this subject, which is a very rare occurrence on TikTok. Like, very rarely will I see every single video, or 90+% of videos, all center around one topic as you keep scrolling through. But it seems like the entire internet is having a complete meltdown over the remarks offered at Benedictine College. As you may expect, and maybe I shouldn't be so surprised by this, but as you may expect, no one actually took the time to watch the whole speech. You know, what we did on the stream, amazingly ahead of the trend, ahead of the curve, on Tuesday. They didn't watch 10 minutes of it. They didn't watch 15 minutes of it. They didn't watch 20 minutes of it as we did earlier this week. Instead, there is a specific like 90-second clip that everybody is reacting to on TikTok where Harrison is specifically addressing his wife. Not all women everywhere, but the very, very niche circumstances of his wife's experience, saying that in her experience, she feels her life truly began when she began her vocation as a mom and as a wife, and that she finds true joy in embracing this vocation that is so beautiful and often told to women they should not end up pursuing. Somehow, women everywhere are interpreting this as evil white Christian man tells women the only thing that you can do in your life is to stay at home and make sandwiches for men in the kitchen and to become a baby-making factory and push endless children out of your vagina. And that is the only thing that is ever going to be valuable for women in society. So naturally, the responses are a bit insane. Buckle up, let's watch them together.
Be like the rest of the world and say, I cannot comprehend or understand Harrison Butker's commencement speech, but I do understand it, and I got a very similar one to my own commencement speech. What people don't realize, and a huge reason of why I started my channel in the first place, is because I grew up in Christian fundamentalism, and I see it creeping into the regular evangelical Christian church with Trump, with politics, with policies. And so I know people are not hiding anymore their beliefs, they're saying the quiet part out loud. And so people who have not known that they've been working on this for years and years and years are surprised. I am not surprised in the slightest.
So just for the record, this is extreme Christian fundamentalism, saying that women might want, maybe in their life at some point, to pursue getting married and having children. That is extremist Christian fundamentalism. And it's echoed in the rise of Trump in society.
Most churches that you go to, if they are non-denominational, if they say Baptist, if they are Presbyterian, for certain ones like OPC, some Presbyterians are more liberal. But if they're any of those basic generic denominations, they believe in complementarianism. And that means that they believe that women are to submit to men and that the woman's to be keepers at home, and that their main job is to make sure that the home is set. And that
maybe I'm reading too much into this or misunderstanding what this young woman is saying, but wouldn't complementarianism actually mean that men and women are different and both need to submit to each other, just like based on what the word complementary means? But that doesn't fit the agenda. The agenda has to say, Christian fundamentalists in this country think women should be second-class citizens, think women should have no rights in America. I don't think you know what you're talking about, if we're being totally transparent here.
They are helping and being helpmeets to their husbands. It is not surprising at all. I am a little shocked that he talked about it so openly since he's like on the Chiefs and famous, but then I'm not shocked at all because Christian nationalists have been gaining ground and they have already said what they think and they are no longer trying to hide it, which is terrifying. And there has been no backlash on him as far as I've seen very much yet. And
girl, where you been? The whole internet is trying to cancel Harrison Butker right now. What do you mean you've seen no backlash? In no way, shape, or form is anything he said mainstream culture at this point, which is sad. It's sad that marriage and parenthood are not mainstream culture today. But where is this universal acceptance of what you're calling Christian nationalism showing up? Because I'm not seeing that.
So he's going to get away with it because this is what they think, and it is not surprising. And everyone needs to start voting and uprising and speaking out, especially if you have lived fundamentalism and you have gotten away. Use your voice because this is what they want for America, and this is what they are getting to with the Supreme Court and with Trump. And
what is what we want for America? The opportunity for young people to want to get married at some point? Yeah, I want that for America. The reminder that, like, hey, you might want to have kids at some point in your life. Like, don't ignore that forever. How dare you? How dare you suggest that? How dare you vote for politicians that make it easier to have a family? What's so wrong with that?
This is what the future of America will be. Women will be keepers at home and helpmates to their husbands.
This is such low-hanging fruit, but honestly, I'm in a mood. I'll be damned if I ever let a man tell me my life begins when I become a wife or a mother, and he smiles like this. What is that? I can't even do it right. I am dying to see what this jawline, or lack thereof, looks like. Is that why his beard is so big? It's full of secrets. And this corner, what the hell? What is that?
Hey, Harrison. You know, we have several things in common. First and foremost, until a few months ago, we were both employed by the Kansas City Chiefs.
So this girl used to be a Kansas City Chiefs cheerleader, and she has a lot of choice words for Harrison Butker.
I cheered you on for 6 years straight. And with that, I would assume we went to the same PR training. But since all of that obviously left your fucking brain when you went to go give that speech, I thought I'd be a good coworker. Share my notes. Let's get started. These are fucking vague.
She seems so delightful. Can I just say this up front? I would really like to hang out with this girl. She seems so fun, so stable.
Takeaway is you now represent $1 billion organization. You are no longer just Harrison Butker. You are now Harrison Butker, who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. And anything you say or do that doesn't align with that brand, scissoring just like the lesbians you hated in that video, will be grounds for termination. Not entirely sure if that...
So, in case you're not picking up on that, she's saying because you play for an NFL team, if you say anything that doesn't reflect well on that NFL team, you'll lose your job. I seem to recall a situation not too long ago in the recent past that there was an NFL player who was making dramatically, actually politically inflammatory statements who had to face some consequences associated with that. And people like this lost their freaking minds. What was that man's name? But it didn't matter because they were supporting the left. Because that's okay. You can support the left. You can support Marxism. You can support the destruction of the nuclear family. And you will be honored by all. Everyone will support that. But the minute you promote people wanting to have a family, you should lose your job, according to this former NFL cheerleader.
The last part is gonna apply to you, but I guess we'll find out. A quick minute to dissect some of the language in your speech. referring to abortion, IVF, euthanasia, and surrogacy as degenerate culture values.
Yes.
Do you see how that maybe doesn't align with the brand?
So the Kansas City Chiefs, young lady, should be promoting abortion, surrogacy, and IVF. That's good. That's what the brand, the company, should be promoting instead of calling these things degenerate cultural values. I'm just making sure we all understand here. It's okay to support the radical left. It's okay to support abortion. It's okay to support surrogacy. It's okay to support IVF. It's okay to support Black Lives Matter. It's okay to support Free Palestine. It's okay to support AOC. It's okay to support climate lockdowns. It's okay to support COVID lockdowns, but you can't support people wanting to have a baby. Am I understanding all of this correctly?
COVID fiasco. Now, I would assume you know what fiasco means, but just in case you don't, you're referring to the pandemic as a humiliating failure. You know, we had an entire fucking PR training on COVID, bro. We weren't supposed to talk about it.
She seems so fun.
You referred to gay people as deadly sinners. The gays love football. We don't want to lose them as an audience, so you might want to reconsider calling them deadly sinners. Life begins when you become a wife and mother, skip ahead, that leans into her most important title of all, homemaker.
So again, these women are very, very systemically strategically, I should say, picking one tiny part of this man's 20-minute speech in which he says, for my wife, Isabel, great name for the record, great name, by the way, for my wife, Isabel, her life, she would say, truly began when she became a wife and a mother. I am able to do everything that I am. I'm able to be the best father and husband that I can be because she has one of the most important titles of all, homemaker. Correct me if I'm wrong, and we have the receipts to prove it here in just a few minutes. Did he ever say, did Harrison Butker ever even allude to saying, every woman everywhere has a shitty life until they become a wife and a mom, and the only thing that you are ever going to be allowed to do is be a homemaker? No! But telling an anecdotal story about his own wife is so triggering to these people who have been lied to by the postmodern feminist movement that they feel the need to lose their minds all over the internet and be defensively angry about all of this because that's how programmed they have become by the feminist movement. This isn't even about you, girl. This is about somebody else who I would probably venture to guess is wildly happy and fulfilled in her personal life. But go off, queen.
You know, we're not going to unpack this from a PR standpoint, but I do want to let you know that the Kansas City Chiefs offer a therapist covered at 100%, both male and female, and I advise that you probably need to unpack that with both professionals. You called the president delusional?
Yep.
You know, I think the organization would let that one go. A lot of Republicans in Chiefs Kingdom. The best.
So I love that she can't even admit, yeah, Joe Biden is sane, because he's not. He is completely delulu. Like, she has no retort for any of that, which is hilarious.
Part of your speech when you said stay in your lane 10 plus times. Bruh, take your own advice. Kick some balls around. Stay in your fucking lane. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this informational training. See you later, coworker.
So these videos get progressively more and more insane. For the record, those were quite tame, the ones that I first showed you. I watched videos of women, and I'm literally not even exaggerating, in the last 48 hours, bawling their eyes out in their multi-zillion-dollar law firms in New York City and in San Francisco. I watched women crying on TikTok about how they only feel fulfilled in their job and they can't find anybody to date, and how wildly insulting are all of these things. And then we watched women try to make parodies about this, that were the least funny thing I've ever seen, but just go to show how completely unhinged everyone becomes. The moment you insinuate women might want to consider getting married and having kids because the feminist rot runs that deep in our society today. Oops, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Here we go. Watch this.
Ladies graduating today, congratulations. You worked so hard for absolutely nothing. You're probably excited thinking you've made it in life, when the truth is your life doesn't even begin until you find a man who wants to marry you. Many of you ladies are here because you were fed lies and told that you could work and have a successful career as a woman. I'm here to tell you that your career dreams should continue to be nothing but dreams, because you were put on this earth to only serve a man and birth his children. Your diploma is useless. You might as well just rip it up and throw it in the trash on the way out. What truly matters is your ability to wash dishes, your ability to cook and feed your husband, your ability to wash and fold laundry, your ability to breastfeed and change a diaper. These are the things that college didn't teach you, but don't worry, it's never too late to learn. My wife is an amazing example of this. She once had dreams she wanted to accomplish too, but instead, I get to accomplish all of mine because she knows her place. Ladies, instead of dedicating your time to job searching on LinkedIn or Indeed, why don't you research how to be the most important thing in the world, a traditional housewife? Thank you.
Yeah, so there's that. Am I crazy? I keep having to ask myself this. Am I the crazy one? Because everyone seems to be thinking that was the message of this speech. Like, universally, everyone is having this type of reaction, to the point that I feel like I'm gaslighting myself into watching this and thinking it's actually a very empowering message. There was nothing wrong about what Harrison Butker said. So then I triple deep fake myself into thinking, am I the crazy one? Am I trying so hard to justify biblical values that I'm missing what he actually said here or some underlying context? Nowhere in this man's speech did he even allude to any of that. Can someone please point to me in the transcript of Harrison Butker's speech at Benedictine where he said the only thing women are allowed to do is laundry and learn how to cook for your husband and kids and change a diaper? Did we watch the same speech? I mean, I half think that there's maybe some AI version out there on the internet that utilized his voice and his face and just lip dubbed the other speech, and people actually did watch a different speech, because I genuinely have no idea. I have no idea how you can watch what we watched on Tuesday and get this takeaway from it. The only thing women can do is do laundry and cook food for your husband and fold laundry and change a diaper and shove babies out of your vagina. Like, what? Where did this even come from? And, the crazy eyes. The crazy eyes in this woman's video. She, too, seems so delightful. I keep waiting for the outrage video from a woman who is married. I have yet to find one, for the record. Not one. All of these videos are from young women who are clearly not married, and they're very angry about it. But I guess the women at home who are married and might have children are just at home doing happy married mom things. So they don't have time to make videos like this, I suppose. So you got the bad parodies, you have the general angsty outrage, and then you get people who just make stuff up, I guess.
One of the most dumbass things I've seen on the internet, which says a lot because the internet is one stupid place, is that dumbass kicker's graduation speech. And what makes it even worse is he has a daughter, and that daughter has to grow up in a home where her own father literally doesn't think that she deserves rights.
His own daughter has to grow up in a home where her own father doesn't believe that she should have rights, any rights, human rights, basic women's rights. Clearly, my dog is quite upset about this too. Libby, would you like to weigh in? Is she going to make me get up? Libby? Pause for dramatic effect. Hang on. Guess who was embarrassed when I went out there? Now she's barking again to get attention. Stories of a stay-at-home dog mom over here. Work from home dog mom. Your daughter, Harrison Butker, is so oppressed that she has to grow up in a house where her own father doesn't believe women should have rights. Any rights.
He does not think that her life is purposeful or worth living until she's someone's wife and pushes out a baby. He thinks that she should grow up, not even have any dreams of her own, and just live for a man. And that's so fucking disgusting. And I'm so upset for that little girl. I don't think I've hated a person on earth more than I hate that man. I don't know his name, and I don't want to know his name. He's disgusting.
Your daughter is not allowed to have dreams and ambitions and a career. Did we watch the same speech? I'm like, I genuinely feel like I am the crazy person. So I'm watching all this outrage over the last 2 days, and I decide, you know what, we should probably go back. Let's go to the receipts and see what this man actually said. Again, because I feel like I need to repeat this 8 million times for people to remember this. This is like a 20-minute speech, okay? We're not going to show the whole thing. I'm just going to show you the part that everybody seems to be upset about. But if you want to watch the whole thing, we reacted to the whole thing on Tuesday on my stream. He addresses the church because he's giving a Catholic commencement speech as a Catholic at a Catholic university. So, like, read the room, everybody on the internet. He addresses culture. He addresses our president. He addresses men and women together. He addresses men specifically. He addresses women specifically, and just everyone, the general proverbial they. But the internet seems to only think this man gave a 17-second speech about his wife, apparently. So, what did Harrison Butker actually say? Let's review, shall we?
In the small ways, by living out your vocation, you will ensure that God's church continues and the world is enlightened by your example. For the ladies present today, congratulations on an amazing accomplishment. You should be
Congratulations, ladies, on an amazing accomplishment. Interesting. I thought he didn't value career. I thought he didn't value education. I thought he said women can only be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, let alone get a career. Congratulations on your amazing accomplishment, ladies.
Be proud of all that you have achieved to this point in your young lives.
You should be proud.
I want to speak directly to you briefly because I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you.
Yes.
How many of you are sitting here now about to cross this stage and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority...
Some of you will go on to lead very successful careers in the world. But wait. I guess I'm crazy. I thought this man said women aren't allowed to have careers. I thought this man said women are only allowed to make their husband a sandwich and fold the laundry. Shocking how that doesn't get included in all of the reaction videos on TikTok.
The majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother.
Baller name, by the way. Everyone named Isabel is just based AF, I guess. But he says, in the very niche, hyper-specific, personal example of my wife, she would tell you that her life has had the best moments of her life when she began living her life as a wife and as a mom. Maybe it's just me, but did anybody hear in there, all women are meaningless. Your life is meaningless until you become a wife and your mom and a mom. Your life sucks, women. You have no purpose, all of you, until you become a wife and a mom. No. He's specifically telling a story about his wife, who I would venture to guess, fellow Isabel, is very, very happy and loves her life and feels wildly purpose-driven and fulfilled.
I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school
And then he starts
would
crying.
convert to the faith, become my wife, and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker.
All right, we're going to talk about this. First of all, he never says the only title women are allowed to have, the most important title women will ever have, the only thing women are allowed to do is homemaker. He doesn't say that, clearly. He says, my wife embraced one of, not the, one of the most important titles in the world, and that happens to be homemaker. And he literally starts crying on stage, talking about how much he loves his wife. This is not a man who hates women. This is not a man who is a wildly bigoted, misogynistic pig who wants women to never do anything meaningful in their lives. This is a man who is shouting out his wife for being the best teammate he could have ever asked for, and embracing not the, a very important role in her existence as a homemaker for their family, which, by the way, men can do too. I saw so many comments on my post on Instagram earlier today about men who stayed home from work for a few years, or men who were in between jobs, and the time that they spent at home with their kids was the most fulfilling time in their life. My dad was a stay-at-home dad for a short period of time during my childhood, and it literally is some of our favorite memories as an entire family. We had so much fun with my dad being home and taking us to ballet class and gymnastics meets, on volunteering with our classrooms. I loved having my dad around. So this isn't just unilaterally only women are responsible for setting the stage of their home. But traditionally, yeah, women do create a nurturing home environment for their spouse, for their children, etc. But that's not misogynistic or anti-woman to say. Fascinating. And listen to the response, for the record, that the crowd gave Harrison for saying this, for sharing this story about his wife. Were they booing him? Did he inappropriately misread the room? No. This is the response people gave him for saying, my wife is the best thing in my life. Clearly I'm passionate about this.
She's the primary educator to our children. She's the one who ensures I never let football or my business become a distraction from that of a husband and father.
So he also says, my most important roles in life, me as the man in our relationship, my most important roles in life are husband and father. And my partner, my teammate, my spouse is responsible for helping to keep my priorities straight. That yes, I am a Super Bowl champion. Yes, I'm giving all of these speeches publicly. Yes, I'm gaining notoriety as a business owner and as a content creator and as an influencer. But the most important things in my world will always be my wife and my kids. And that's the appropriate level and ranking of priorities in any man's life as well. Fascinating how that doesn't make all of the TikTok reaction videos.
She is the person that knows me best at my core, and it is through our marriage that, Lord willing, we will both attain salvation. I say all of this to you because I have seen it firsthand, how much happier someone can be when they disregard the outside noise and move closer and closer to God's will in their life.
Amen.
Isabel's dream of having a career might not have come true, but if you asked her today if she has any regrets on her decision, she would laugh out loud without hesitation and say, heck no. As a man who gets a lot of praise and has been given a platform to speak to audiences like this one today, I pray that I always use my voice for God and not for myself. Everything I am saying to you is not from a place of wisdom, but rather a place of experience. I am hopeful that these words will be seen as those from a man not much older than you, who feels it is imperative that this class, this generation, and this time in our society must stop pretending that the things we see around us are normal. Heterodox ideas abound even within Catholic circles. For let's be honest, there is nothing good about playing God with having children.
There is nothing good about playing God with having children, which tied back into everything he was saying about abortion and surrogacy and IVF and larger societal issues. Interestingly, maybe 17 seconds of that is what people are focusing on TikTok. And they also are not including a substantial part of Harrison's speech in which he specifically addresses young men. So yes, he dedicated a portion of his speech to young women, but he also dedicated a significant portion of his speech to young men, talking about how masculinity has been under attack for decades in our postmodern culture, that we desperately need actual strong manhood in society because men set the tone for culture, and encouraged this generation of young men to stand up and do just that, to set the tone for culture, to continue speaking the truth, to pursue family as well as a career, and to try to bring us back towards something more meaningful and purpose-driven than the secular evil that we are all living through today. Is anybody upset that he said that to men? No. Not a single person is upset about what he said to men. Probably because most people are completely unaware that there was even a section of his speech dedicated to men specifically. But instead, we have to continue promoting the narrative that evil, white, Christian, conservative men hate women. What he actually said in that speech is, I have a career, but as a man, the most important things in my life will always be my wife and kids. My wife, probably not like many of you, a bit more uniquely, my wife didn't end up having a career. She does not regret that one bit, which is her choice, by the way. I love how we always say it's all about women's choices until you make the wrong choice, according to the radical left. My wife didn't end up having a career. She doesn't regret that, but she has embraced one of the most important roles in all of human history: homemaker, raising our children, supporting me, creating a values-based household and home for our family. All of you women sitting here today should be proud of the accomplishment that you have just achieved in choosing to pursue a degree and in going on to have meaningful and beautiful careers that are probably going to involve lots and lots of promotions and job title changes, etc. But, and this is what you will never hear from our broken society, that in his words, we need to stop pretending is normal. Your career, your boss, your paycheck, your promotion, your job title, your cubicle will never love you back. Ever. You can have the most meaningful career in all of American history. You can be the president of the United States. Your job will not love you back. You can change all kinds of things for people everywhere, and that's important and it's good. And we should be pursuing careers that change the world and change culture and impact people's lives. That's exactly what I did. My career every day is to get up and tell people the truth in whatever capacity I can. Writing books, giving speeches, posting videos on social media. That's a beautiful career, and it's a calling and a vocation. And I believe in that. But my career will never love me back. Truly, my legacy someday when I die, be that tomorrow or 50 years from now, is not really going to be reflected in my paycheck or the fact that I own my own small business or the number of videos that I posted on social media. Hopefully, God willing, my true legacy in life will be from my future husband, from, God willing, the opportunity to have children, and in raising those children in objective truth and strong values, because those things will love you back. Maybe it's just because I'm getting married in like 40 some days and I'm just like always thinking about marriage and what that looks like in our anti-marriage world right now. But I, even as a business owner, an entrepreneur, a content creator, an author, a speaker, etc., a very career-driven person, my job is basically the biggest part of my identity other than my faith and my relationship. I would never, ever begin to presume and tell you my job is going to be more important than my marriage. I'm going to keep working after we get married. I'm going to keep posting stuff on the internet. I'm going to keep writing books. I'm going to keep giving speeches. I'm going to keep starting off offshoot businesses, the whole nine. Because I believe what I do professionally is a calling and a vocation and an opportunity to change the world for so many people. But my marriage will always come before my career. And I don't understand why that's so controversial. God willing, the opportunity that I get to have children, my kids will always come before my career. And I don't understand why that is so controversial. The only thing Harrison Butker said to women in this commencement address is, you will probably go on to have a beautiful career. That's a good thing. That's a beautiful thing. We should be happy for that. But don't forget to also pursue something meaningful on a personal side too, not just professionally. Because our entire society and culture is systematically building this narrative to convince you, to indoctrinate you, to program you into thinking that marriage is the end of your life, that having children is the end of your life. That's how you get tied down and you lack opportunities to climb the corporate ladder and you'll never have a personal life ever again. And clearly, the response from thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people all over the internet in the last several days has been proof, living proof, concrete evidence that narrative, that systemic lie, that powerful indoctrination worked. That we have convinced thousands of young women across this country the only important thing about you is your job. And I don't know about you, that's really sad to me. That honestly really breaks my heart because your job can be a beautiful, important thing about you. Your career can be a powerful way to impact people's lives for the better, to provide for yourself and your family. But is our identity really that tied to a promotion and to a salary and to a job title? I hope not. Because what happens when that all falls apart? What happens when you lose your job? If your entire identity is tied to your job? What happens if your company goes out of business? If your entire identity is tied to your job? What happens when you wake up at 45 or 50 or 60 and you never got married because the most important thing to you was your job, and then it's time for you to retire and you don't know what to do with yourself because you missed the opportunity to leave a different type of legacy? Not a resume or a CV, but a family and a community of people that are your people. The number of stories I'm seeing from older millennials right now of women who are just devastated because they bought into this lie that the only important thing about their life is their career is heartbreaking. And clearly, younger millennials, and maybe even some Gen Zers, although most of us are still teenagers, are really upset about this speech too, so they clearly are buying into the narrative. Is it that crazy to tell women, yes, go have a career, go have a job, go do big things in the professional world, but don't forget about your personal life too? Apparently that many people are so enraged by this profound piece of objective truth that Harrison Butker's speech has now spilled over into countless other areas of internet culture and the mainstream media as well. In fact, people are so upset by what he had to say that there is a change.org petition going viral right now on the internet, signed by, should we refresh the page? Let's refresh the page. 134,950 people, 90,000 of whom signed this today, to demand the Kansas City Chiefs fire Harrison Butker because of his discriminatory remarks. Why fire him? Because the harmful remarks made by Harrison Butker, kicker of the Kansas City Chiefs, during his commencement address at Benedictine College were unacceptable. His comments were sexist, homophobic, anti-trans, anti-abortion, and racist. These dehumanizing remarks against LGBTQ plus individuals, attacks on abortion rights, and racial discrimination. Where was there racial discrimination in this speech? Perpetuate division and undermine human rights. We demand accountability from our sports figures who should be role models, promoting respect for all people, like babies. Regardless of their race, gender, identity, or sexual orientation, we call upon the Kansas City Chiefs management to dismiss Harrison Butker immediately for his inappropriate conduct. Nearly 150,000 people have signed this petition to demand this man not only be ridiculed all over the internet, but lose his job as a Super Bowl champion kicker, as the best of the best of the best football player, because how dare you support actual values? How dare you support families? How dare you support faith in our culture that is demanding the erasure of every single one of those things? The View today decided to weigh in on everything going on related to this speech. Trust me when I say this one will hurt your soul a little bit. It is not a fun one, but it matters.
So I agree with you and I disagree with you.
That's
so,
okay.
So I agree with you that in the spirit of freedom of speech, I don't want people shut down or fired for things they're willing to say. Yeah. I will break with you on the comparison to Colin Kaepernick for this reason. Colin Kaepernick.
So for the record, by the way, because the clip doesn't show this, Whoopi Goldberg actually said that this is really similar to what the unnamed person I just talked about a few minutes ago was doing just a few years ago. Why is it okay when Colin Kaepernick is standing up for whatever he wants to be his values, and we're supposed to applaud him, paint his slogans in the end zones? Everyone should post his campaigns on social media, but when Harrison Butker does it, he should be fired. I never had a Whoopi Goldberg supports original family values on my 2024 bingo card, but crazier things have happened, apparently. So this is the disagreement with that.
Standing up for the rights of many and saying in a social justice moment, this is a reminder that we're not there yet. What this man is doing is not just a devout Catholic. This is someone who's practicing something called the traditional Latin Mass, which is divergent from the majority of Catholics. It's compared to being...
According to who? Listen to this woman take Harrison Butker's speech and try to turn this into an indictment against the Catholic faith. Talk about this being so much bigger than one speech or one college or one football player. This is what the real agenda in attacking this guy is.
Like an extremist.
We're going to rewind that. Did you hear that?
Catholics. It's compared to being cult-like and extremist like some religions in the Middle East and Asia.
It's compared to being a cult and extremist.
So this is a very extreme religion, and what bothers me about that as a Christian is that when people abuse Christianity, they often not only cherry pick from the Bible, they misinterpret and lie by omission, by taking out parts that would have explained something a little better. So what I can say to him as a Christian is if you're using this to oppress a people or hold them down, you're not walking with Jesus. If you are using...
Can anyone, any one person, chat, point me towards where in Harrison Butker's speech he's trying to oppressively use his faith to oppress and silence other people and take away their human rights? Do you see why I feel like I'm the crazy one? I feel like I'm the crazy one because everyone is losing their minds over telling women, yes, you can have a career. That's great. Also, you might want to consider getting married. We are using and weaponizing an extremist religion in Catholicism to oppress and silence people by saying that, apparently.
the religion, if you're more obsessed with the religious rituals and practices than you are with the word of Jesus, you're not walking with Jesus. And if you're using it for the judgment of others and as a weapon to beat people down, you're also not walking with Jesus. So I would really encourage him to find the best parts of faith and not diverge into extremist beliefs.
Extremist beliefs. Only cherry pick the parts of Christianity that you think fit into postmodern social justice, not actual social justice, which, by the way, just a little fun tidbit, was invented by the frickin' church. So you're welcome, world, what actual social justice is supposed to be, just for the record. If it doesn't fit in with the demands of modern culture, then it's not really Christian, actually, and you're weaponizing your faith as an extremist to silence and oppress people. So all people who go to the Latin Mass, which if you've never been to a Latin Mass, lady, clearly you haven't. You have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Anybody who's ever been to a Latin Mass is a horrible extremist that wants to silence and ridicule and oppress women. Again, did not have Whoopi Goldberg coming to Harrison Butker's defense here at all, even in the vicinity of my 2024 bingo card. But here was what she had to say.
If this is his belief system, if there are many Catholics who are staunch this way and don't
Actually, a small percentage.
No, not small percentage.
I'm the Latin Mass.
I'm just telling you there are many people who believe this way, and I'm simply saying, rather than write a petition to get him fired because
Don't
this
get him
is
fired.
Well, that's what I'm talking
The Pope discourages it, just so you know, in the Catholic Church, the Pope diverges from this belief.
It does.
Why get him fired if this is what his beliefs are? If we're allowed to do this for Colin Kaepernick, why get this man fired? Anybody? Well, it's an extremist belief. Well, it's only extremists who practice this type of stuff. Well, even the Pope, who we all hate, he doesn't even like the traditional Latin Mass. So if he doesn't like it, it's only insane, misogynist white supremacists that like to hear church in Latin. How dare we encourage that type of behavior? Maybe he shouldn't be fired, but he should sure as hell be canceled for it. So The View, people on The View, not Whoopi Goldberg, shockingly, go off, queen, I guess, is taking this speech to attack the broader lens of traditional Christianity in America, of Catholicism, not just in the United States, but around the world. This week, the NFL teams also had their schedule releases for their upcoming games with this particular football season. There were some really funny ones. They always do a great job on social media. But the LA Chargers decided they needed to include some sort of ridicule against Harrison Butker for their football schedule release. I'm not even making this up. Watch this. They do this in the realm of The Sims. Everybody does something pretty... We'll turn off the music. Everybody does something pretty clever and creative and does fun things for their schedule release. I've seen some really cute ones. For the Titans, for example, they asked people what the logos were. Oops, sorry, you guys. On Instagram, you aren't watching. They asked people what the logos were for each of the teams, and they had to guess what those things are, and of course they were all wrong. It was very cute. So the LA Chargers decided to do this in the context of like the Sims animation, and just watch this. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, ha 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 ha. Getting on her private jet. That's funny. That's actually funny. The Broncos. feel like I'm watching like a fever dream, if we're being totally honest with ourselves. This is so weird. This is so weird. Okay, so then we get to the end credits. So obviously this was like the weirdest schedule release video of all time. I didn't even think it was funny or even that creative, to be honest with you. Like, you could have done something way funnier and more interesting than pretending that everyone was The Sims and had better dialogue, I guess. But you get to the end credits, okay, of the schedule release for the Los Angeles Chargers, and you saw they poke fun at a bunch of different people, whatever. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce in the private jet, whatever. At the end, watch what they do to this man, Harrison Butker. He's in the kitchen cooking. Did you see that? Cooking and making flower arrangements in the kitchen, because that's where men are supposed to be, not women. Not only does this spill over, okay, into The View, the mainstream media, and to NFL football at large, people are so upset by this tweet that the actual government account, the official Twitter account of Kansas City, the city of Kansas City, actually posted on Twitter just a reminder that Harrison Butker lives in a different city, lives in the city of Lee's Summit. Of course, it has now since been deleted very, very quickly. This was deleted and posted all late last night. But a government-verified Twitter account is trying to troll Harrison Butker and say, you don't live in our city, we do not claim you, you do not speak for us, da-da-da-da-da. Everyone is freaking out about the contents of this speech. Everyone. Government, mainstream media, professional athletics, every influencer known to man. I had to unfollow a huge women's entrepreneurship Instagram account last night because I was just floored by what they had to say about Harrison Butker. I've been following them for years and they offer really good advice. Oh, what's it called? I have to look it back up. They offer really good advice to like female entrepreneurs. And again, I've been following them for years. They have 3.4 million followers on social media. They end up posting this whole affidavit on why Harrison Butker is so evil. And it says, it's like a meme compilation of confused women. It says, us, when some random guy on a football team says that we should choose motherhood over our careers. And it's women being angry and upset. Well, yeah, you should choose to have motherhood over their careers. And the next slide in this meme compilation is, serious question, why are men still trying to tell women how to live their lives? Their caption was, apparently there's a guy on the Kansas City Chiefs who is truly misinformed, clown emoji, because look no further than some of Team Boss Babe's own members and so many women in our community for proof that you can be a great mom and have a thriving, successful, fulfilling career too. That's exactly what he said. That is what he said. That is exactly what this man was advocating for. Listen, we're not going to tell you it's easy. We're also not here to make you feel like you have to be a mom if that's not what you want. We're here because we're tired. We're tired of men telling women what to do with their lives. And we want to remind anyone who needs to hear it today that the world is your oyster and that you should choose whatever life path and journey aligns with your joy and happiness. Period. End of story. Thank you. Next. Literally every single comment, you will be very pleased to know, was in support and defense of what Harrison Butker had to say. But entrepreneurship, women's empowerment accounts on Instagram are all posting this stuff because everyone has lost their minds. So why? Why are women so upset about this? Why are people in general, but particularly women, so upset about being reminded there is beauty and joy and purpose in fulfilling marriage and motherhood in your life? That should be something that you are striving towards. Because we have been conditioned to believe as young women that the only important thing about us is our degree and our career. That's it. And your degree is the first stepping stone to have a career. Every single women's empowerment message in postmodern America is all circulating around and echoing in perfect unison this fundamental lie that the only important thing about you, young woman, is your degree and your career. That's it. Period. End of story. It is that lie that has empowered dating app companies to put out horrifying billboard campaigns like that of Bumble's this week that the company has now had to formally apologize for, that a vow of celibacy is not the answer, aka waiting to have sex until you get married is not the answer, because you should be sexually liberated and sleep with as many people as possible, never tied down in a meaningful relationship, because that would hurt your career. Why would you ever want to have a meaningful long-term relationship, especially with a ring on your finger? Because that would hurt your career, and that's the most important thing about you. This is the lie that has empowered the abortion lobby and the abortion industry in the Western world to tell women the worst possible thing that could ever happen to you is getting pregnant. That's the end. That is the end for you. The worst possible thing that could ever happen to your life is to have a baby, which is why we are here to support your ultimate dream, your career, and you need to sacrifice your child on the altar of convenience by any means necessary for whatever reason you want, at any time you want, in any manner you want, because the most important thing about you is not your child, is not your meaningful relationship with the person who helped to create your child. It is your job. It is precisely this lie that has led to the United States of America having the lowest marriage rate in all of our nation's history in the last couple of years. It's true. We began recording marriage rates in 1867 in this country, and within the last few years, we hit the lowest marriage rate per capita ever in American history. Because why would you ever want to tie your life to someone else in a partnership, in a team? Because that's going to take away from your opportunity to climb a corporate ladder, even though it's not. That is the most pathetic, shallow thing in the entire world to say to a woman, that they're mutually exclusive. It's not going to take away from your career if you still want to have a career, but we have to tell them that because your career is the most important thing about you. Our fertility rate is the lowest it's been in 100 years in this country. We just talked about that a few days ago on the stream. Why? Largely because in all of the studies that we were reading about this, women are choosing to have children later and later and later and later and later in life and getting to the point that they biologically cannot have children at that point, massively impacting American fertility rates. Gee, I wonder why so many women are waiting to have children and then waking up later on in life and realizing, wow, I missed my opportunity. I missed my shot because I listened to the loudest voices in society. There are so many people, even on my response to this on Instagram, very conservative, religious people saying they hated Harrison Butker's speech because they kept trying to cherry pick hyper specific examples. And a lot of these people are people that I look up to. They're people I appreciate, I value. I very much honor their opinion and their perspective. And it's okay, you're allowed to disagree, but I find it really disheartening that we even are trying to buy into the hyper specific examples of saying, well, it was so terrible of Harrison Butker to say marriage and motherhood are the most important things for women, because not all women are going to get married, because not all women can have children. Some people are going to experience infertility, and that's so bigoted and hateful and misogynistic for a man to tell a woman the best thing she could possibly do is get married and have kids, even if she can't get married and have kids. Well, I'm sorry, but when did the exception start dominating the rule? For the vast, vast majority of women in all of human history, the most important thing you could possibly do with your life is get married and have children. Does that mean every woman ever is going to get married and have children? No, of course not. And obviously there are going to be exceptions to any rule. But that doesn't erase the fact that general society is attempting to eliminate, to destroy, to disintegrate marriage as an institution and the family as an institution. And Harrison Butker absolutely appropriately responded to the general lie in our society, the powerful indoctrination in our society. Women, in particular, are being fed on a day by day by day basis, in and out, 24/7, 365, with the sole intention of erasing marriage and motherhood. And ultimately, when we took the time off from the stream last night, I spent some time in between feeling very sick, sitting on the couch and thinking about why. Why is all of this happening? Why are we buying into these lies so specifically? Why are we being taught that our career is the most important thing about ourselves? Why are these women having absolute meltdowns on social media? Honestly, it's a really simple answer, and I don't think everybody's quite prepared to hear it yet, but I'm going to say it anyway because it needs to be said. People are angry about what this man had to say because we worship ourselves. Because we worship ourselves. In our society today, we are the main character in our story. The only thing that matters is our personal achievements, our personal goals, our personal dreams, our resumes, our CVs, our montage video at the end of our lives. We worship ourselves. My desires, my immediate wants, my personal impulses are the only thing that ever are allowed to govern my trajectory in life. That is pathetic and shallow and really depressing. Newsflash, our wants and desires and thoughts usually are not that great for us. Usually it involves a level of jurisdiction and higher thought over your desires to realize, yeah, that was a really bad idea. All you have to do is ask any woman her dating history and you go, oh yeah, I made some really bad decisions over the years, but it's because that's what I wanted in the moment. And I worship myself. So the only thing that I am allowed to pursue is what I want in the moment. True freedom and true joy and true purpose in life. This is true for everyone, men and women, so listen up. True fulfillment comes when you realize you are not the main character in your life. The most powerful achievements throughout all of human history, in your career or in your personal life, have always happened when someone has laid down their life for someone else. When they have sacrificed their own personal desires, their own immediate wants, their in-the-moment impulses for the benefit of someone else. That's what the institution of marriage is. It's both parties being willing to lay down their life for the other person. Truly. To say, I would die for you, for your wants, not for mine. Because I care more about you than I care about myself. Parents lay their life down for their children every single day, sacrificing their immediate wants and desires and errands to fulfill the needs of their kids. Even when that's hard. Think about how many sleepless nights every mom in human history has experienced because their child was up crying late at night. But they do it because true freedom, true joy, true purpose in life starts when you lay your life down for somebody else. The most impactful leaders in society have been those willing to sacrifice their own life for the benefit of others. Jesus Christ sacrificing his life on the cross for your sins was the greatest accomplishment, the most powerful human moment in all of collective human history. And he literally is the main character, and he still decided to do that for you. Every single one of the complicated, powerful, intoxicating lies in our society that are seducing young people everywhere are tied up in the single foundational lie that we are expected to worship ourselves, that we are the main character in our lives, that nothing else matters except for us. What a horrifying way of life to live in. What a miserable prison we have built for ourselves. Because someday, we're going to wake up and we're going to realize, wow, I was never the main character. Whether that's in this lifetime or in the next. Someday, if we're lucky enough to grow old and gray, we'll be sitting on the front porch of our home, if we're ever able to afford a home at this point in modern society. We'll be sitting on the front porch of our home in our rocking chair and think, wow, imagine everyone who could have been sitting here with me instead of all by myself. If I had made sacrifices along the way for other people, to lay my life down for other people, instead of constantly making my life about myself. Someday, after 20 more failed dating relationships because you didn't want to put a label on it, you might wake up and realize, wow, if only I hadn't been so selfish with my time, with my money, with my resources, with my love. If only I had been willing to give my whole heart to somebody else, knowing they could have given their whole heart to me, and we could have built a marriage together that lasts a lifetime, instead of another failed several-year experiment with someone who couldn't answer the question, where do you see this going? Because it doesn't fit into your personal plans in life. Your life, ultimately, is not about you. And I know that's harsh. I know that's really harsh. That's painful to hear, especially in our constantly steeped in individualism, instant gratification society, where we are told your life is about you. And I've been thinking about this so much lately, but it all just came to a head for me with this speech and everybody's massive overreaction to everything with Harrison Butker's remarks. I think where people who gravitate toward traditional values, namely American Judeo-Christian conservative individuals, I think where we've been getting it wrong for the last several generations is that we are hyper-focused on rugged individualism, which is often a good thing. Individualism is important in the right context. God created you as an individual. You have your own personal passions and hobbies and interests and values and thoughts for a reason, because you were created to be uniquely you. God looked around at the whole world and saw that there was missing you and the world needed one of you in it. However, we often are sacrificing service to others on the altar of individualism in continuing to promote so-called conservative values. Now, in no way am I advocating for government collectivism or one world government or socialism or Marxism or any of the like when I'm telling you this. But we have forgotten that we are not supposed to be the main character. That true freedom in life comes with serving others, in caring for our families, in caring for our neighbors, in caring for our communities, and in wanting to build those communities family by family by family. The moment we promote individualism above service to others, we worship ourselves. And that is perhaps the gravest sin of all. There is absolutely zero logic in any of the responses to Harrison Butker's speech anywhere on the internet where people are just losing their minds. But that's not surprising to me because Satan doesn't operate in logic. And there is nothing more powerful that the enemy can tell you than the lie that you matter more than anything else. That it's all about you all the time. It is your way or the highway, and everybody else better get out of the way. Allie Beth Stuckey wrote a book a few years ago tailored toward young women, and I highly want to recommend it to all of you watching this stream if you guys haven't already read it. That blew my mind in a really powerful way when it first came out. It's called You're Not Enough. And that's okay. You are not enough. I am so tired of seeing all these slogans on social media and t-shirts and cute little memes about everything's wonderful because you are perfect just the way you are. You are enough just the way you are. You're not. And that's not the point of life anyway. We are nothing without Him. We are nothing without God. And God is the most powerful example of what it looks like to lay your life down for other people, even when He is quite literally the main character in society. Period. Full stop. I think our world needs a much more powerful reminder of that now more than ever. And there's nothing misogynistic or anti-woman or bigoted or hateful about saying that. That's where true love comes from. Sacrifice. Not being self-serving, but serving others. Laying your life down for other people. And one of the most beautiful and powerful ways to do that is right at home. Mother Teresa, in her lifetime here on earth, before she was canonized as a saint, was famous for saying, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family. I have always loved that quote, but truly today, I love that quote more than I've ever resonated with it. If you want to change the world, go home and love your family. This unilateral, powerful, angry, vicious attack on Harrison Butker, as I said at the very beginning of the stream, isn't really about Harrison Butker at all. It's not about him as an individual. It's not about him as a football player. It's not about his family or his wife or his speech at that one college. It's an attack against marriage and an attack against the family, because there are no other human institutions more powerfully dedicated to changing the world in the simple sacrifice of laying your life down for somebody else. I shared this in my shorter form reaction on TikTok and Instagram today as well, but I want to leave you with this quote because it's a really powerful one from C.S. Lewis, maybe the greatest theologian of all time. The homemaker has the ultimate career. All other careers exist for one purpose only, and that is to support the ultimate career. Notice how that's not made out to men or women. It's not specifically saying you're unable to do anything else. In fact, it actually encourages you to go do other things. But if you are living a purpose-driven life, family comes first. Everything else exists in support of your family. They are not the afterthought. They are not the recreational side gig. They are your purpose for being. If you guys watch the stream often and my other content often, you will know I recently lost my paternal grandmother a couple of weeks ago. It was a long time coming. We were all expecting it for a very, very long time. And she actually had quite a beautiful death experience. I have got to fix this microphone arm. I will, I promise. She actually had quite a beautiful and meaningful death experience, and often talked about being able to see angels, and was visited by her deceased relatives many, many times before her passing. She had a beautiful experience. And after she died, I was reminded by my dad that her husband, my paternal grandfather who passed away, my paternal grandfather who passed away when I was a freshman in high school, his favorite quote throughout his entire life that my grandma continued to carry on for many years after his death was "family first, family always." I never thought growing up that was such a radical idea. In fact, it was very normal growing up. And maybe I'm just quite close to my family and I've lived that way my entire life. But who would have ever guessed that family first would be the most radically countercultural thing you could possibly say in 2024? The powers that be, that really all stem from one evil power that be, that is, have a war raging against marriage and family. Ask yourself today why that is. Why is everyone so upset by this speech? Why is our society so obsessed with canceling this one individual? Why is the response unilaterally, overwhelmingly condemning this man for encouraging meaningful relationships? Because there is nothing more powerful, other than your faith, than your family. And no matter who you are or what phase of life you happen to be in, I hope that you'll continue to pursue that, to honor that, to cherish it. If you are in a marriage today, and maybe your marriage is going through a hard time right now, don't ignore that. Don't let it go. Don't stop fighting for it. Keep fighting for it. If you're getting ready to get married, like myself, I'm getting married in like 40 some days, which I'm very excited about. Make that the primary focus of your life. Nourish that. Prepare not just for a wedding, but your marriage together, to live a godly life together. If you are a parent, hug your kids a little extra tighter today and remind them out loud, say it, that they are the most important thing in your life. If you're considering marriage and family, think very seriously about where that's going to fall on the priority list in your life, because no job will ever come close to that type of vocation. And if you want to cancel me a la Harrison Butker style for saying that, go for it. I hope it's obvious that we need more prayer today, now more than ever, in our very, very broken culture in the United States of America. And no matter where you're watching across the world, I invite you to pray for Western civilization, for the United States, for this next generation who is constantly facing a barrage of lies at every single turn in our society. The app that has totally transformed my prayer life for the better is the world's largest Christian prayer app, Hallow, and they have some incredible content that I know is going to change your guys' life, from podcasts to guided prayers to meditations to consecrations to everything you can possibly imagine. You will find it on Hallow, and they are offering you guys a 3-month free trial to over 10,000 pieces of unique content on their app. If you go right now to hallow.com, HALLOW.com/Isabel, you can claim that 3-month free trial. Lots of exciting things in the work, a la Isabel Brown and Hallow as well. So I will keep you guys in the loop on all of those things. Thank you again for the grace and forgiveness of taking yesterday off while I was feeling very, very under the weather. And we've got to keep fighting to tell the truth. So if you're seeing all of this outrage from anybody that you know in your own personal life about Harrison Butker's speech, I highly encourage and invite you to share this stream with other people. Please, I beg of you. Instagram, it doesn't stay up afterwards, but you can always go back and find the stream on YouTube, on Rumble, and anywhere else that we are streaming every day. People need to understand what the real fight is against here. Not one bigoted, horrible man, but against Satan himself in his incessant war against family, which we have to continue fighting back against. I love you guys so very much. Don't forget on your way out to smash that follow or subscribe button. And we will be back for more on the stream tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. God bless you guys. Love you.